Okay? When I was president of NACWPI NACWAPI, I sought out articles on how to help young professors get tenure and how to do well. And we put some, and I think some of this is still up on the NACWAPI.org website, but there was an article, it was in the Clarinet Journal a number of years ago, and it's actually on how to do a master class. And it's written by Kelly Burke. Kelly Burke was a longtime clarinet professor at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. She's still teaching some, but she's mainly an administrator, I believe, these days, unless she's retired. Very fine teacher, really nice person, by the way. John Sapol had studied her, mentioned him, by the way. But she wrote this whole article on how to do a master class, which is really great because nobody ever I learned in the School of Hard Knocks just doing it hundreds of times. But it's really a great thing to read. And what's interesting in this article is, she said, in kind of in the middle of it, she says, well, what you mostly do when you do a master class, what students mostly need is one of two things. Number one, they need adjustment in some basic fundamental. Or number two, something with respect to the knowledge of musical style is not quite right, or needs improvement. And I've been thinking about that since I read that 10 years ago. That's kind of everything, really. What do I teach all day? Basic fundamentals and how to play it. That's what we teach all the time. Oh, and let me take a step further here. What musical style do, maybe not you guys, but your students, what musical style, period, do students struggle with the most and have the least experience with? Nope.
Jazz.
Nope. Well, maybe, but not really. Romanticism. Now, I know some of you grew up listening 24/7 to Tchaikovsky and Beethoven, but man, some of you sat around listening to rock and roll and rap and country western music, and you show up playing your clarinet. And if that's not true for you, it will definitely be true for your students. Okay? I mean, you go to Penny's to pick out a pair of slacks. I mean, they don't have Beethoven going. They don't. They've got some, bum, 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 or some nice pop thing from the 80s, Bono's going at it there. Okay, but and because they've got all the sound pushed forward, there's no dynamic contrast, right? Okay, and so, the soundscape that people live in is music that's actually similar to what? 20th century Baroque and classical music, because structurally and the way it's done. Okay? The Romanticism, with its emphasis on dynamic and expression, is not in the soundscape. The only place you might hear it is in a Star Wars movie or something, right? You don't hear that. The kids don't hear that growing up. And so my experience dealing with a lot of young kids, even my college students, really, they didn't sit around listening to Beethoven 24/7 and Brahms and whoever until they got to college, most of them. Now, some of you guys may be exceptional, and that's beautiful. But I guarantee your students won't. So that's why those Rose tunes are so valuable. So when I teach a Rose tune to a kid going to Allstate, what am I working on night and day? Getting them to understand romantic style, because they have no background in it. And my experience has been, if I do a Baroque piece or a classical piece, or even 20th century, it's structurally so much like the sound world they've grown up in that they don't have to make adjustments. So knowledge, that was a little excursion on musical style. Okay.